There's essentially 4 steps. Only one of them is challenging, but I'll show you how to get around it. The first one is we set up our developer environment. This is just some UV commands. I'll show you how to do that. You can do the equivalent with pip or conda. Second, there's just one small config file. I'll show you one little hangup that you might catch and how to get around that. Number 3 is the code. This is the longest part. You can either just copy my code and customize it on your own, but I'll go over the 4 or 5 sections of my code so you can customize it or write your own from scratch. And lastly, just one little command to get this thing running. And if you get a pop-up or a warning, I'll show you how to get rid of that with the LangChain key. Let's jump into it. All right, step 1, we have to create our developer environment. I'm going to use UV. You can also use pip or conda, but I'll do UV init cool project, cd into cool project. And then I have to add my dependencies. I'm going to do LangGraph, LangGraph API, LangGraph CLI, LangChain, OpenAI for my LLM. I'm also going to do, instead of pandas, because the agent is going to do pandas data frame querying, I'm also going to do cuDF CUDA12 because I have CUDA version 12. I have a GPU, a local GPU here. So this is CUDA for data frames, which accelerates pandas on the GPU. And then Python .env to read my environment variables from a .env file. I'll get into that in a few seconds here. So there's my dependencies and everything looks good. I can verify with PyProject and you can see all of my dependencies are installed. And it also created a main.py, which I don't need. So I'll go ahead and delete that. And so that is my developer environment all set up. All right, step 2. This is also a very easy step. All we need to do is create this LangGraph.json file. And as you can see, this is the minimal setup. The only thing to make sure is that this agent.py file, whatever you name your file with your LangGraph agent, has to match this right here. Again, this is the minimal setup. Go ahead and run that. And if we look at it to make sure everything looks good. And again, the name of this file has to match the code that you want to run in LangGraph Studio. On to step 3. I'm going to make this really simple. So here is a command. If you look, this bit.ly link shortener goes to my code. For this, it's a very simple LangGraph agent code. If you want to look at it, here it is, and GitHub. This is the code right here. I also have a very simple LangChain agent that runs in a notebook, but the code we're looking at today here is this one. The only gotcha is, remember, this is a LangGraph agent. This is not a LangChain agent. And so that code is going to be a little different. If you want a video on explaining the difference, I can do that too. Just hit me up in the comments. So that's the code right there. If you want to connect with me while I'm at it on LinkedIn, this is me. I work at NVIDIA. I work as a developer advocate in AI, make content just like this video here. So there's the code. Go ahead and download it and then make sure it is in there. And notice, remember, the agent.py has to match that LangGraph.json. And one other thing is, however you're using your LLM, I'm using mine from NVIDIA. So I go to build.nvidia.com. If you go to build.nvidia.com and you don't have an account, it's free. I'm already signed up. So you go over here, you go to API keys, you click generate a key. It will generate a key. You copy and paste that into a file called .env. So once you create that, and I'll show that in a second, the environment variable will be loaded with that right there. So again, you create .env, and then in NVIDIA API key equals, and then you paste your key that you created in build.nvidia.com. And then when this code runs, it will be picked up and put into this right here. All right, so that's the code. On to step 4. Step 4, run the studio. The command is uv run LangGraph dev. All right, this second link here is what you click at the top of the output. It might keep going on and on, but you have to scroll up, click that link. Notice this warning. You can ignore it or you can fix it. Let me show you how to fix it first. So I'll copy the name of that key here, LangSmith API key. I will kill this and I'll do export. You can also put it in your .env file and then source that, but I'll show you, whoops, equals. Now you go open up a new tab and go to smith.langchain.com, smith.langchain.com. Create a free account. Once you have that and you're signed in, click this little icon, this little gear icon down here. Let me kill that one. And I'll say plus API key. Give it a description. I'll call it YouTube demo. Create a workspace. I already have one. Set an expiration date for security, and then click create API key. Okay. So I'm going to copy this, put it over here. All right. And now I'm going to once again put in LangGraph. Whoops. UV run LangGraph dev. And when I click the link now, it has that API key and the warning has gone away. So you don't have to worry about the warning. It'll just nag you, but that is it right there. All right. So here's our LangGraph agent. If you want to use it, you know, this is a visualization, kind of cool, I guess, as you make more complex agents. But let me go ahead. I have that. Let me just show you the code. Here's the agent. I have this data frame right there in the code. So we'll ask it, you know, what are average sales? What are average sales? Okay. Click go. And this is going to create a thread. You can see over here, here's that thread. And there's the answer. If I come down here and click show tools call, it'll show you what the agent, the reasoning and the actions that the agent took. Without it, it is just the prompt and response, but you see it's labeled human, AI. Now, here's my prompt. Here is where the AI or the agent went to the LLM, got back this response. You can see there's code in there. And then it used the tool to execute Python, which is one of the tools we created. Let's see here. At tool, we annotated execute Python, which is that right here. It ran the code. I don't think it shows the code. No, it just shows you the result. And then the AI, again, took this number and created a natural language result, which is really cool. Also, if you come over here, you can click trace. I like this view better. This is the trace. And I'll scoot this over here as much as possible. And this is basically the same view, just a little nicer. You can see here's the agent, and it shows you how long each one took in milliseconds. There is my OpenAI agent, which is this right here. Should continue. There's the tools. They call it execute Python, which we showed right here. And then the agent took that, you know, should continue. It was satisfied through the LLM's reasoning that it was done. I like that. Make sure to turn waterfall on. I just think it looks better with waterfall. It helps you sequentially understand the execution. Quick explanation of the code. Here's all of our imports. I'm using cuDF instead of CPU pandas. I'm using GPU pandas. This load.env grabbed the NVIDIA API key for me from that .env file. So this is my LLM, you know, the engine of the agent, so to speak. I'm using Quincoder. This is a larger LLM, but the results are good. There's my sample data. Make this a little bigger. Close that. Next section after sample data is my tools, right? This is kind of what makes the LLM more of an agent. So here, I gave it my explanation so the agent knows what this tool does. I get the code back from the agent and I try to execute it. I make sure to communicate back to the LLM what's happening. So return at the end of here. If not, I return the error back to the LLM so it can reason what went wrong and take another stab at it. All right, here is the LangGraph agent, which is different than the LangChain agent. So we have the tools. There's the function we created above that we annotated with @tool. This is similar to LangChain, create React agent or whatever type of agent you created. This is the equivalent of that. This is where we create the graph. This is where instead of just a sequential agent, maybe going in a loop, this can take different paths based on the complexity of your agents. Okay. So we have this call model, which goes into a node of the graph and also should continue, which determines whether, go to the end or not, go back, that sort of thing. That creates the graph. All right. Compile it. One got you is do not use, if you're coding in an IDE and it tries to autocomplete to put this memory saver or something in there, do not do that. The LangGraph Studio tracks it for you. You can see that over here. So if I go to chat and I say new thread, right, that is creating a new memory, a new context for the agent. All right, here's some code in mind. This is ignored by LangGraph Studio. This is only if you want to run the thing locally. All right, I hope that clears it up. I hope that makes it simple to get LangGraph Studio running for you. If not, if there's problems, hit me up in the comments. And until next time, cheers and happy coding.